everybody. Welcome to the Talking Disney Classics podcast. This is a show where we love talking about the Disney canon and all things Disney classics. And today it's going to be really fun. We are talking about Lilo and Stitch and all of the Lilo and Stitch. People might not know that Lilo and Stitch is a franchise. It's very fun that we're going to be ranking them and talking, of course, about the new remake. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Jonathan North is here with me. Jonathan, you are the king of every version ever. So this is a perfect to have you on for this.
I have watched most of the versions. I have not seen the two anime versions because I
Oh,
don't know
right.
where to watch those.
Yeah, we don't have those in this ranking. So I haven't seen those.
It'd be nice if they were available,
I
but
know.
I've they're not on Disney Plus. I looked, so
Get them available to us, Disney. Let's watch them. I've never seen those. I had never seen any of the sequels previous to preparing for this podcast.
I had seen them all. Well, I hadn't seen Leroy and Stitch. I had seen the other
Mm.
two because those came out. I was a teenager when they came out, and my brothers had them. So I was familiar enough with them. We didn't watch them as much as the original. Like the original was played many, many times, but not so much the sequels. But we did
Hmm.
watch them. So I had
Yeah.
seen them before, but it was nice to revisit them.
Yeah, I had never seen them, and I really enjoyed all three of them.
Okay.
I did. I cannot lie. I really did. I think that it's some of the strongest things that Disney Toons ever did.
Probably Disney Toons, like as long as the movies for Disney Toons, the new, I I guess the newer sequels, they were okay. Like is when they went back and did like Cinderella 2,
No, I
Bambi
mean, I
2,
hate
those were
most of those are atrocious.
yeah, because they took so long. Like they were there's no reason for those to exist. But like when they made
Yeah.
them right after the original, like I I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember liking Lion King too.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
But as
The
long as they were making them right after the original, they were better than when they tried to make them like 50 years later.
yeah, I mean that's fair. I think Cinderella 3 is actually pretty good.
That one is the one I tell people that is way better than it has any right to be.
Yes. Yes. So when they were actually trying, I think, to instead of just making it either a cheap
Yeah.
copycat or like the I hate the Beauty and the Beast ones are really bad in my opinion. The Little Mermaid 2 is painful. The prequel they did to the Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning, is watchable. It's fine. Um, so and I agree. The Lion King 2.5 are like they're watchable. They're enjoyable.
I
A
need to
one and a
watch
half,
I
one
need to
and a
watch
half.
Lion King. I don't think I've seen Lion King 1.5, but I've seen Lion
Yeah,
King 2. I remember liking it, but I don't remember much of it because I think we
yeah,
only watched it once.
mm. Yeah. Well, I think this is a pretty strong run for them with the Lilo and Stitch sequels. And let's talk about we're kind of thinking all over the place this episode, but so Lilo and Stitch, you watched it a lot growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out, I was a teenager when it came out, but I mean, I still watched Disney movies, and I had four younger brothers, so we watched. I watched whatever they watched, and everybody loved Lilo and Stitch. We watched it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, after it came out, I mean, it just is was everywhere. I mean,
Hmm.
every piece of Disney merchandise,
Yeah,
everywhere.
I've got a hat with Stitch on it somewhere.
I
I
know
have a
I was kind
shirt.
of ashamed of myself that I did not have a piece of Lilo and Stitch memorabilia to wear on this podcast because I'm like, what kind of a Disney fan am I? But I mean, really very present
Hmm.
in Disney. Unbelievable. So I am a bit old. I didn't realize I was that much older than you. Yeah. So I am a bit older than you because this came out when I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was when it first came out, I didn't love it. It was too depressing to me. I felt
Mm.
like, boy, man, this is just a downer. I liked some things about it. I liked the animation. I wasn't a critic then. I didn't like, go to things, see things multiple times. It's just
Hmm.
once, and I was like, wow, that was depressing, and that was it. I was 21, and so it's only been in rewatches that I've kind of learned to. It's still not a favorite of mine. It's not a beloved like it is for so many others, but I
Hmm.
definitely do appreciate it. And I appreciate it, especially now in retrospect, because obviously the 2D animation, the watercolor animation,
Yeah.
how unique a voice and how unique a film it is. And
Hmm.
like, so that was kind of rubbed me the wrong way about the remake, which we'll talk about. It's just like, to sort of recopy something that was so special is kind of it makes I don't like it, even though those people were involved in the remake. I get it, but it just to
I
me is
look at the,
symptomatic. It's symptomatic of the problem at the Disney Corporation
oh
right
yeah.
now, where at one point they were encouraging unique, weird, like to think that you had Treasure Planet and you had Lilo and Stitch the same year, that like you just think about how unique
Hmm.
that both those were, and both were creatives driven.
Hmm.
Like they were trying to get Treasure Planet made for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Clements and Musker, it was their big thing, and you just think now it's just so like almost
Corporate.
everything that comes from the studio is so copycat, Easter egg, not special. It doesn't have a voice. It doesn't feel special. And that's really frustrating to me.
I tell, like, everybody talks about the Disney movies as like they're in the eras, like
Yeah.
the golden age, the bronze age. I feel like we're in an age that I call the corporate age because
Yeah.
every decision that they make is studio driven. I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's coming from the creators
I agree.
themselves.
Even in the parks,
Hmm.
it's just like, what are you doing? Like it's the depressing age. That's what it is. It's like, and people think, oh, you're just a hater. Absolutely not. I love Disney. Like I
You have
want
a
to be.
whole podcast dedicated to Disney. You don't hate
I
Disney.
I want like the world is and I mean this when I say it, that the world is a better place when Disney is thriving and we're getting magic and beautiful productions from them. I
Uh-huh.
want them to be wonderful. Like I want to go and be like, that was such a magical experience. I don't want to go in and be like, wow, that was exactly the same as what you gave us 20 years ago. Like so frustrating. And so yeah, I'm just feeling frustrated. But when I first saw this movie, I was just like, wow, that's depressing. And the thing about these sequels is that in some ways I find them a little more watchable. Like they're not as good, I am obviously, but like they're a little bit more fun. Is
Uh-huh.
that horrible to say? Like they're not
No, I
trying to
mean,
be so
there
heavy. The first one is pretty heavy, especially by the time her house gets blown up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what more could happen to these two people? And it just feels like so like, oh, give them a break. And so I don't know.
I think the sequels they're
More
made
fun.
because there's a TV show coming and or
Yes.
has been made. Like the one is the finale for the TV show. And that's why they're more fun because it's for a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it probably wasn't because it was Disney Channel. It played on Saturday morning where I live because we didn't have cable. We had
Uh-huh.
ABC one Saturday morning. So
Yeah.
that's when we saw the show. So it basically it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon to me. But that's why these are more quote unquote fun, is because they were made to be a cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's has its appeal. Like I don't
Yeah.
always want to watch a movie about a broken family that their house gets blown up and she loses her job, and like they're gonna separate them. And that's a lot. It's
Uh-huh.
pretty heavy. So yeah, that's kind of, but I think there's a lot. The things that I appreciate the most about Lilo and Stitch, I already said the artwork, the watercolor, the the music, the Elvis, the Hawaiian music, the Hawaiian culture, all of
Hmm.
that. love that. But I also love that they kept Lilo very weird.
Yes.
She's not like a cute mop top like you usually see in Hollywood films. She is a weird little kid that collects pictures of fat people and has a like strange dolls I really like that she's a weird kid. And they totally got rid of that in the remake, which was lame.
I was waiting for her to pull out the pickle jar with the voodoo dolls or whatever it was, but that never happened.
Yeah, they have her have
I
one
really
doll,
liked the
but
Lilo in the remake, but she wasn't the same.
no, she's super cute, cute little actress, but just lacked that creativity, that individuality,
The weirdness.
the
Like that's what makes
weirdness.
Lilo so great in the animated
Yeah.
films. She's just a weird little kid, and I
Yeah.
love that about her.
And also, like, there are very few Disney animated films that are actually about children. That's sort of a
Yeah, that's
weird
true.
thing, is that almost all of them are about young adults.
Hmm.
Because typically, so if you typically you always you want to age up your characters beyond the audience that they're aimed for. So High School Musical, for example, was really made for like tweens, like middle school.
Hmm.
It was really made for the just younger. It wasn't really made for high school students. And that's pretty common. Like you want to kind of and because that just expands your audience all
Hmm.
the more, right? Then if you make something super age specific, then it has to be like a Dora the Explorer or something like really
Hmm.
specific. But and even that they aged her up for the movie. But uh and so that's I think part of the reason why you don't have very many children in Disney films. Very few. Pinocchio, there's Rescuers. Um,
Lilo and Stitch probably avoided that by having it be an adventure film with aliens,
yeah,
which was one of the big appeals for me and all my brothers, because we loved the movie, but none of us
yeah,
are 6-year-old girls.
right. There's Sword in the Stone. There's I guess you could say Winnie the Pooh, but it's just Christopher Robin is a adjacent side character.
Hmm.
Um, Meet the Robinsons. Are there any others about a little
I was going to
about
say
a,
Chicken
a
Little, but
child?
I think he's supposed to be a teenager. I don't
Oh yeah, I
remember.
guess there's some animal characters that are children.
I don't know how old Chicken Little was supposed to be. It's been a while since I
Yeah,
watched
that's
that
a
one.
good point. Trying to think if there are any other. I mean, because there's like Little Simba. There's some, I guess, that start
All the kids
young.
in Robin Hood.
Yeah, so there's some side characters. But anyway, it's just kind of an interesting thing that I don't think we think about that often is that Disney
Yeah,
doesn't actually have children in their movies very often. So to
not as
have,
main characters anyway.
yeah, and to have the film focused on a little girl and not only that, have it be a really weird little girl is so
Hmm.
refreshing.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes it quite special
Hmm.
for I mean yeah, as far as the main characters, Meet the Robinsons and Pinocchio are your like two main ones.
I guess
But
half of Bambi.
I guess Sword in the Stone, he's pretty young, but yeah, Bambi, that's true.
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
I think that just all the elements together, it feels like a real creative, unique voice. This feels like
Hmm.
somebody's idea, which it was. Uh, they're, Dean DeBose and Chris Sanders, their unique idea. They pitched it, and that they were able to make it is incredible. And and just to have this story about these two sisters and Ohana meets family, it just gives the whole thing like such heart and soul.
Yeah.
I think is what makes it special. And so, yeah, I think that's why I think people are so attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Just the characters, especially, and the setting. It's so unique. Like,
mhm,
like
yeah,
what other Disney movie is set in Hawaii?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess there's Moana, which is just like Polynesia.
Yeah, well, that's also like hundreds of years ago too. This is like modern day Hawaii,
True.
and the culture is prominent. It's a part of the setting.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's just there's so many unique little pieces that they've put together to create Lilo and Stitch that
Hmm.
it's just a movie that it's not like any other movie.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about these sequels. So Lilo and Stitch, we have the sequel. The first sequel is Stitch, the movie. This is in 2003 that it came out. The continuing adventures of Lilo, a little Hawaiian girl, and Stitch, the galaxy's most extraterrestrial Stitch. Pleakley and Dr. Jumba are all part of the household now. And what Lilo and Stitch don't know is that Dr. Jumbo brought his other alien experiments to Hawaii as well. So, what do you think about this one?
I liked this one. This one was probably my favorite of the sequels. This one I watched when it came out. I think we had this one on DVD. I don't think we watched it a lot, but we watched it enough that I remembered this one more than the others.
What's
And
interesting is that one of the changes that they make in the remake is they get rid of Gantu.
hmm
And I didn't even think about it because I don't know, he doesn't even have that many lines in the animated
not in the
film.
original movie, no.
No. But now watching these sequels, I was like, okay, I get why people that were more invested in the whole franchise were kind of like, hey,
hmm I think, I mean, I don't know what their future plans are for the remakes because they're probably going to make a sequel if it does well. I think Gantu is a character that they could easily bring in later if they wanted to.
yeah. Well, and plus, I didn't feel it because they were human for most of the movie. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't like you were seeing, and that was the same thing with Jumbo, that like I didn't feel that they were turning him into the supervillain as much because he was human for most of it. I don't know. That just
hmm
like so you didn't feel it. But yeah, so this one it's fun. It's fun seeing the different stitches. That's probably the best part, the different experiments.
Yeah. I think this is a great springboard to an animated series. It sets
Mhm.
everything up for the series perfectly. Because,
Yeah.
like, before this movie came out, I had never given a second thought to the name Experiment 626. It was just like, I mean, that's his number.
Yeah.
That's what he was called. But then when this movie came out and it was like, well, there are 625 other experiments. I think that kind of like blew our minds. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, that is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And this set everything up for the animated series perfectly. It was a
Yeah.
really great jumping off point for a long animated series because there's so many things you could do with all these weird little aliens who each have weirdly specific powers.
Yeah, and I've heard that series is pretty good.
It I haven't watched the whole thing. I watched a few episodes in preparation for this podcast. So, like, I had seen some back then, like, because that came out around. It's like if the movie came out in 2003, I graduated in 2004. I didn't watch a ton of this show because at that point I was like getting a job and going to college. So I didn't watch a ton of the series back then. I watched some of it because I remembered, like, I looked through the descriptions of the first few episodes. So I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this. I think my brothers must have been watching it
Uh,
because the series wasn't something I watched a lot of.
was it just on Disney Channel or was it on
We didn't have cable, so we watched it on Saturday mornings because the Disney Channel shows would come to ABC on Saturday mornings,
Mm.
like in a block they called ABC's One Saturday Morning.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so I actually gave all of these on my letterboxd. I gave all of the sequels the same score. I gave them all 3 out of 5s. And
Okay.
so I don't really, there's not like a huge difference for me in between the different ones, but I do out of
I have differences. I would rank them
oh, okay,
pretty
yeah.
differently.
Yeah, okay. So I actually have this 4 out of 5 in the ranking of the five that we're talking about. Even though I like it, it's just
I think I would have this at 3 because of the three of the sequels, the animated sequels, this is my favorite.
okay. Yeah. All right. So then they had in 2005, they have Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch has a glitch. And I guess I like this one better than Stitch, the movie, because I just think, I mean, granted, that one is specifically about Stitch, whereas I think this one has a better story for Lilo.
Mm.
Like her and her mom being the hula champion and her wanting to do that. And, but then like she gets up to the point where she's going to perform and then she leaves and goes and finds Stitch. And I thought that, and then everyone coming to helping her and then her still performing and everything. So I thought that story for her was a good story.
This one's my least favorite of all the five we were going to rank. This is my least
Ah,
favorite.
okay.
And I remember when it came out not liking it either. We watched this. I think we owned it. I watched it once,
Ah,
which is rare because like if we owned something, we watched it over and over. So to have a movie and own it and only watch it once, I
mm.
feel like that says something. And I'm watching it now. I think it's because like at that point in time, I was an older teenager. Like I was probably close. What year was this?
This was 2005.
Okay, so I was graduated by this point. So I remember watching it and thinking this is convoluted. Like the whole thing about him glitching out like he needs to be charged up. Like I was
Mm,
very I was dissecting the plots by this point in my life and I was like this makes no sense with what we've seen with Lilo and Stitch before. And also the fact that this came out after Stitch the movie and
the
the Lilo and
series.
Stitch series and like it had nothing to do with that. Also, the fact that they replaced Debbie Chase with oh no, I'm blanking on her name.
Uh, oh, for Dakota Fanning.
Yeah, Dakota Fanning replaced Debbie Chase, and I guess it was her choice. Like Debbie Chase was busy with the series, so she suggested that Dakota Fanning take her place because they were friends and they had a similar sounding voice. So I guess it's fine. But like I didn't know that at the time, and I was like, why are they getting rid of the original Lilo and replacing her with Dakota Fanning?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all fair points. I just I mean I've never been that invested in the Stitch alien side of I've always been more the sisters
Hmm.
Lilo, is more my appeal of this. And so I just thought that was a really good story about her
I
and
think
the
the family
hula.
stuff works.
Yeah.
Like watching it this time, I was a lot more into the family story.
Yeah.
But like as someone who liked the sci-fi stuff and had
Yeah.
watched this when it came out and had like I remembered all of my criticisms from back then and I was trying to put aside what I had thought back then,
Yeah.
but I still was thinking like this doesn't make any sense lore wise.
That's funny. Well, I have this at 2 is my second favorite of
Okay.
the 5 because I really like the hula story worked for me. So then we have and I guess I didn't read the summary of that one, but um, so then we have Leroy and Stitch, and it's then we have Leroy and Stitch, and this was 2006. And it's Lilo, Stitch, Jumba, Pleakley have finally caught all of Jumba's genetic experiments and found the one true place where each of them belongs. Stitch, Jumba, and Pleakley are offered positions in the Galactic Alliance, turning them down so they can stay on Earth with Lilo. But Lilo realizes her alien friends have places where they belong, and it's finally time to say aloha. So this one, I liked it. It was fun, uh, but it didn't have that like really personal Lilo story like the hula.
Hmm.
It was more like her getting involved in all the alien stuff. So I enjoyed it. I have it as three in the ranking, but
I had this below Stitch the movie, but above the Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. This one, like, because I had not watched the whole series, I was not quite as invested in all of the side characters. Like, I think if I had seen the whole
yeah,
series, I
I think
probably
so
would have
too.
thought it was so much cooler to have this team up with all the extra aliens and then having a new Stitch. Like, I think if I had been the correct target audience for this when it came out, because this one I did not see when it came out. This was the first time I had watched this one. Like by this point,
Yeah.
like I didn't watch a whole ton of quote unquote kids movies. Like there's a bunch of even Disney movies from that time period that
Yeah.
some I still haven't seen. Like I still haven't seen Home on the Range. Like
Yeah, I
this
hadn't seen
era, I missed out on a bunch of these.
I hadn't seen this one either until I hadn't seen any of these until this project, but I had heard about it, but since I didn't like love the original as much as others, you know, I wasn't invested in like, oh, I got to watch all of them for the franchise, and
Hmm.
I don't like these cheap ghouls in general. So yeah, I never seen any of them. I'd heard about this Leroy and Stitch. Pretty good name. I like the name,
Yeah,
you know. So it's fun to see the different experiments, different stitches, basically. And uh it's this one is the one that feels the most Saturday morning cartoon, I think, of the three.
yeah, definitely.
So all right. Let's talk about this remake. Here we go.
Did you watch any of the show?
No, I did not.
I what I'll do a brief review of the show
All
because
right.
I did watch a few episodes and I had seen some back when it came out. So, like the main thing that I wanted to watch for the show was at some point towards the end of the series, like after I had not been watching it for a while, they started doing crossovers with other Disney Channel shows.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and there were two shows that I grew up on that I loved. So I was like, I need to watch at least those two crossover shows before we record, just so I can, I don't know, just mention
Yeah.
them. But they did a Kim Possible crossover and a crossover with Recess, which is bizarre because those two shows, like Kim Possible, I could maybe see, like it has a little bit more potential, but Recess is like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, that is bonkers.
So I just watched them and like they were fun, but they were weird. Like
Yeah.
I it's like I guess they were kind of inspired by the original promos for the Lilo and Stitch movie, like with him appearing in other Disney animated movies or their trailers or whatever, like on Aladdin's carpet and when Ariel jumps out of the water on the rock. So I guess that was the inspiration, but it was just such a weird thing to have them have characters from other shows show up. And
Yeah.
it almost felt like they were kind of out of character at some points, especially Kim Possible. It felt weird. I don't know. Like I liked
Uh-huh.
them. Like these were fun episodes. It was just strange.
Yeah, that is weird. That feels very, even though it wasn't the 90s, it feels very 90s,
Kind
you
of,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny.
But I also wanted to watch there's a character in Lilo and Stitch the series that I was waiting for in Leroy and Stitch.
Mm.
Because there's a character called Angel who is like the girl version of Stitch.
Yeah,
And
the
like
pink one.
she's like apparently she's like all over the park. She's huge in Japan. They make merch of her. They're making a whole Lego set out of just her coming up. So I was like, okay, so Angel is a huge character in Lilo and Stitch the series. So obviously she's going to be in the finale because Leroy and Stitch is the finale. And she wasn't. And I was like, what? So I looked it up and she's only in like one, maybe two episodes. It's like, that is so bizarre that a character that small has gone on to become this massive merchandise hit. So I had to watch her episode, and it turns out she's also evil. Like I guess she turns good by the end, but like for the episode, she's evil.
That's
It's like
hilarious.
this is so bizarre.
Well, I mean, it's really not that bizarre because Disney has neutered like all of their villains at this point. Like they don't even understand what a villain is anymore.
I think
Oh my gosh.
like I didn't watch the second episode that she's in, so I'm assuming that she's going to be good in that one. But it was just so weird to have like this character that I assumed was a love interest for Stitch, and in a way she is, but it's more like she's a siren. Like she sings a song and gets people to do her bidding.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That just feels very Disney though to me.
Yeah. It's it's weird. I don't know. But I just felt like I should watch a few episodes so we could talk about them because
Yeah, that's
like
good. I'm glad you did.
the series is kind of important to the Lilo and Stitch franchise.
Yeah,
The
I'm glad
movie
you
is
did.
still
Thank you.
the movie is still my favorite, but like if you're wanting to watch some Disney cartoons, but the show is pretty fun.
Uh-huh. I can tell. I like these all of these sequels. I bet I would like the series. And
Yeah,
they have done some good series. Like I liked the Tangled series. That was good.
yeah, it was.
Yeah. So,
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too, and we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
all right. Well, let's talk about this remake.
I already know that you liked it a lot less than I did.
Yes, that would be fair to say. I guess the thing is that, well, and I even said in my out of theater reaction, like this will this will show a lot on your sort of feelings in general about these live action remakes, how you feel about this one, because it was frustrating to me because I felt like even though I didn't love when I first saw it, I didn't love the original. It took me a little bit to grow on it. Um, I could tell and I recognized that it had a real creative vision and voice behind it. I said this in my reaction. I said that it's dispiriting because it was a Disney project with a real creative vision and unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much since its release, Disney has packaged it and put it on lunchboxes, and now they even abandoned the animation altogether. That is discouraging. And I just found the movie so shot for shotty. It was basically the same movie. Like, why do I need to watch this? And it felt like buying a generic brand of the soda I like when I can just when I can just get what I like for free. I can just watch it on I don't know. I can just watch the original film here at home.
Mm-hmm.
There's not I didn't feel like it gave me almost anything that I was like, wow, that was an interesting take. That was an interesting thought. That was an interesting and I mean, I did not like this recent Snow White. But if I had to pick, I would rather watch that again because
Really?
yes, it had new songs, it had new ideas, it was trying something. And I feel like if it's bad, it's at least bad in interesting ways. There's something to talk about. There's something to, like I feel like that was a swing. And I'd rather have Disney be taking swings and trying stuff and bumbling it than just copying what they already did 20 years ago.
That'll be interesting. I still haven't seen Snow White. I'm going to do a podcast on it in a couple of months, so I will be interesting to see how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of new songs, and it's a complete mess. I didn't recommend it, but I'm just saying that it just felt like a cash grab to me, this movie. And I don't know. I
mean, it's a live action remake. I think they all fall into the cash grab category.
Well, yes, but some they at least I feel like are trying to do something a little bit different, have a fresh take on the story. Like as much as I dislike Maleficent, it is at least a different take.
Hmm.
As much as I really disliked those Alice in Wonderlands, it at least trying something different. Um, Gosh, making me defend something I hate, but I the Pete's Dragon I think is the ultimate example. That's completely different than the
Yeah.
original film. It's its own unique. You can feel David Lowery's voice, his imprint. You cannot feel Dean Fleischer Camp hardly at
Mm.
all in this movie, and he is was I was hoping for because he did such a great job with Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I love it so much, and it just felt like a photocopy of the original film.
I th- I both
Like,
agree and disagree. I feel like at the beginning it was definitely shot for shot. I think the further along in the movie, I felt like it was like diverging, like two paths. Kind of came back in the end, but it felt very
yeah.
similar at the beginning and then kept getting more and more different.
The
And
ending, it's so crazy because now I'm like defending this movie I don't even like because all of these all of these people are on social media. They're all like, uh, this is a spoiler alert, sorry, but the people on social media, they're all like, Nani abandons Lilo to the foster care system at the end of the movie. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. She she so the ending of the movie, Noni has gotten into school and she wants to go to the school, but she doesn't even think that she can do it. She doesn't even acknowledge that she can do it because she's so loyal to Lilo. Then the neighbor makes an offer that we will help you and we will take care of Lilo so that you can go to school. So technically, yes, she's becoming a foster child, but it's with her neighbor who she knows and loves and who loves her. And
hmm
literally, the end of the movie is Lilo and Nani cuddling together and hugging. That she's through the portals and stuff. She's visiting her, and so they're still. She's not abandoning it. Like, come on, like
hmm
I have my issues with Disney. There are plenty in this movie. I don't need to invent problems that are there. Like, I don't need to, like, there's plenty there. Like, you don't, that just felt like, oh my gosh, that's such a reach. And obviously, what they were trying to do is they were trying to say this message of Ohana, this message of family is beyond blood. It's our
hmm
neighbors, it's our community, it's the social workers, it's the everything all together. Our community is going to raise this little girl,
hmm
right? Am I,
Yes.
yeah,
I think that's the reason that I liked this movie in spite of so much of it being the same. Because I think they nailed that message. I
yeah.
think they
I
did it
didn't even think of it as a unique message. I was like, that's the same message as the original
not
film. But
really.
then,
Like
I
it's
mean,
a similar message to the animated film, but they expand the scope of the
I
message.
get it now once I was pressed on it that I'm like, okay, I guess. But it was just like, I didn't even think of that as like an issue as somebody who didn't like the movie. I'm just like, what are people doing? This is such a reach.
It's all of these channels on YouTube that make bad faith arguments so they can have a clickbaity
Yes.
thumbnail. It drives me crazy.
Yeah,
It's like
it does. It
this is the
feels
same
bad
reason
faith. It does.
this
That's a good word for it.
this is the same reason that I hate calling myself a Star Wars fan because these YouTubers
Yeah.
have made it they've poisoned what that means. It's the even the and it's getting into the animation community now too. They've they want to make it the most clickable headline, their most clickable thumbnail.
Yeah.
So they act like this is this monstrous.
Yeah, that they're turning Lilo over to foster care. Come on.
Yeah,
No
it's
reasonable
ridiculous.
person should think that at the end. And like, it's totally reasonable of Nani to want to go to school and to
Hmm.
not like to be conflicted about
Yes.
I have been given this responsibility. And I can relate to that because I was when my youngest sibling was born, I was 17. And so I was kind of mini mom. Luckily, my parents are still with us, thankfully. But like, it definitely occurred to me, like, what would happen? Like, what would I do if I had to, if I was given responsibility of these kids? And
Hmm.
you definitely think about these things. And so I could relate to that about Nani, and the idea that it's just it's just ridiculous. There's plenty of other flaws in this movie. You don't even need to go there.
I think that's another reason why I really liked what they did with this movie. I really liked Noni. Nani was
Yeah.
like she was a good character in the original, but this like it's one of the flaws and good things about this movie is that they tried to make it more realistic. Like in some ways, this doesn't need to be more realistic. It's a movie about aliens. So, like, it's fine. It can be a cartoon. But, like, I liked that they tried to have a realistic look at this situation. Like, what would happen with Nani, with her trying to raise her little sister
Hmm.
at the age that she's at, because she is at the age where she should be going to college and she's having to give that up. And I thought they did that really well.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
have her purposely deciding, I'm not going to college, I have responsibilities. But then I love this new character, the neighbor that they introduced. Like, most of the time, it's like, you don't need to throw in new characters, but I liked her. Like, I already
Yeah.
have a thing for
I guess
little old lady characters, but
I didn't
I
even
love this one.
I didn't even think of that as really much of a change, because it just seemed so minor to me. But then, like, now with all these people freaking out, I'm like, oh, I guess that was a bigger, bigger deal than I realized. I'm like, okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that the Noni and Lilo were both good. They were both sweet,
Yes.
and the little girl was very good. And the there were some funny parts. The humor, was pleasant
Hmm.
enough, but it just felt so generic, and like they sanded off most of the things that made it unique. Like, just how weird a kid Lilo
Yeah.
is in the animated film, and just the kind of weirdness of the story. It just felt more sitcom-y, more just not as special as the original
No,
film
I
to
totally
me.
agree with that. Like, as I did like this remake, and I think if they're going to make a remake, this is the way I prefer them to do it. But I do agree that it's not as good as the original. And
Yeah.
but like
But why
I
does
look
it
at
need
this
to
as
exist? What does it
no, it doesn't.
add?
It doesn't.
You
No, that's
know?
fine. That's why I said
Like,
like
at
they don't
least
need to be making these remakes. But
at least the
if they
sequels
insist on
have
it,
some new characters, a new story, and new,
hmm
like, I would rather watch these sequels than watch this remake again.
I look at
They're
this
also
in
a
the
lot
same way that
shorter.
I look at The Parent Trap. I grew up with the 1960s Parent Trap. It is one of my favorite old Disney movies. I love that movie so much. But the Lindsay Lohan one from the 90s is fun too. Like, it doesn't need to exist. They didn't need to remake it. But it's fun. It's not going to be my favorite. It's not going to be the one I'll choose out of the two. But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's how I
It's a
look at
fair
this
point. That's a
Lilo and
fair
Stitch
point.
situation.
It's a fair point. Yeah, the differences are pretty small in that they make, like, instead of Boston, she's from London.
Hmm.
There's a few other little changes. The submarine is different. Vicky and Meredith are a little different, but yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's a fair point. I do love that. I love both of those Parent Traps.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess at least with that, you're talking about a long time had passed in between those two movies. This,
At least 30 years. I don't know the
yes.
exact length.
Yeah.
This was
So,
only like 20 years.
yes. So, yeah, 1998 and 1961.
Also, almost 40 years.
Yeah. So, and the other thing too, I have to say with Parent Trap is that there have been so many of them. There were,
Yeah, there
Parent
was all
Trap
the sequels that
2,
nobody
Parent
remembers.
Trap, then there were the triplets movies. If you want to see us rank, me and my friend Marissa, we ranked all the Parent Trap movies.
It,
On
if you
Hallmark
want
Movies.
something mind-blowing,
Pandemic.
I just found out this week there are a whole bunch of versions that have been made all over the world.
Yeah.
Is it like,
Well, I think it started from a German film.
yes, it started from a novel actually, and
Okay.
I just stuck that in my Amazon shopping cart. I'm gonna
Okay.
buy that book, and I'm planning to do every version ever of The Parent Trap someday in the future.
Ah,
But I need to
yeah.
find how I can watch all these first, because there's at least three Indian versions.
Oh,
There's like
wow.
German, a couple German versions, I think.
Yeah.
There's at least one, if not two, animated versions from all over the world.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's interesting. I guess it depends on kind of what you're looking for because, like, when we were talking about this 2005 Pride and Prejudice, that a lot of people get real upset about some of the changes that it makes from the 1995 one,
mhm.
which is like a perfect adaptation of that book, right? So, but I feel like I'm glad they did something new. I wouldn't want, we already got it. We already have that original, the 1995 perfect adaptation directly from the book, point by point. We already got that. So, and it's amazing and I love it. But now, if you're going to do it again, either don't do it or do something new, right?
Yeah.
And
I like
that's
I
kind of
don't
my feeling of like that I prefer these live action remakes that that do that do their own thing. That aren't just a
yeah.
copy. Like I like Pete's Dragon, I like Cinderella, I like Mary Poppins Returns. I like these ones that tell their own story that have some feel of a filmmaker, that feel like cinema, that those are the ones that I am more drawn to, even if they
Mhm.
are like even if they are a little messy, like Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, that was a mess, but like it was interesting. It was an interesting mess. It was
Yeah.
bizarre. It was
Yeah.
crazy. I'm like, they are few. They are. There's a gas chamber in this Disney film. Like what?
Yeah.
So bizarre. And I mean, I would just rather watch a movie like that than watch this. So it's just kind of, what do you want? Do you want the same thing, like competently rendered, or do you want something new? I don't know.
I mean, some people do. Like, it's weird to me that
Obviously.
some people really want a live action version of an animated movie. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily understand it. Because I mean, I have a whole podcast dedicated to different versions of things.
Yeah.
So I like watching different versions of things, but I don't understand why people really want to make a live action version of an animated thing.
I
I'd
don't
rather it go in the other
either.
direction.
Me too. I would rather see live action animated.
Yes.
I would rather do that. Like the than I'm trying to think. I know there was something that was like that recently, but now it's slipped my mind. But yeah, I would rather see something like, I would love to see, say, like an animated James Bond or something like that, you know?
Mm,
That would be
yeah,
so fun.
it would. I think like
Yeah, I guess we've
going
gotten like
from
Spider-Man, things like that.
yeah, going from animated to live action, like as much as I liked the Lilo and Stitch remake, it doesn't have the vision of the animated one. It's not the same.
No,
Like
it
the
doesn't have that
animated one,
voice.
like everything about it is so carefully crafted and artistic.
Yeah.
Like the characters have a specific look. I love the watercolor backgrounds. That's so unique. You don't
Yeah,
like to move
I
it to
agree.
live action, you lose all that. And while I do like the story that they told with Lilo and Nani, I, if I'm gonna watch Lilo and Stitch, I'm probably just gonna watch the animated one.
I just don't understand why people are so drawn to realism. Like
I
why
don't either.
people want things to look realistic. Like, so the realistic version of the story that we know and love, why is
Maybe
that
it's the
appealing? I
novelty.
don't understand it. I
Because
don't
it is
understand why.
interesting to look at. Because like the one
Is
thing that I
it?
will it depends on who you are. Like it depends on what you want. The ones that I'm not looking forward to the How to Train Your Dragon remake, but the
Oh,
one thing I will say about it is I think it looks cool to see the dragons in live action, quote
yeah.
unquote. Like that looks cool to me. And I think that's the appeal. But like My question is, of all the people who are going to go see How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version,
Oh,
is it going to is that going to be their favorite version, or when it comes on a DVD, which will they choose to watch?
there's
Because for me,
almost no chance, unless you know somebody who's in that cast, there's almost no chance that you'll like that better than the original film. Almost
probably
no chance.
not.
There's almost none of these. Like Pete's Dragon is the only one that I think you could say it's legitimately better than the original film. And that's because it's totally different thing. And so some people are gonna like something totally different
Hmm.
than something else, right? And some people will like the original better in that case. But I it's just it creates this thing. It's such a weird thing. It's like going on an attraction at Disneyland of a see your favorite characters like in real life. It's like an
Hmm.
attraction. Go and see it. The attraction happens to last 2 hours. You sit there and then you're done and you forget about it for the rest of your life. Almost with all of
That's what I
these.
was thinking, because like if like I'll eventually see the How to Train Your Dragon remake, but I it's not going to be my favorite. Like unless they do
No
something
way.
radically different and make a completely different,
Yep.
amazing story out of it, I can't imagine how it could possibly be better than the original.
No.
And that's how I feel about most of the remakes. Like I enjoy watching them at the time, but for the most part, they're a one and done. Like
Yeah.
except for doing them for the podcast, because I'll watch them again for the podcast.
It's just
I never
frustrating.
choose them.
It's frustrating because especially when they've had some incredible people working on these.
Yeah.
And you're like, you could have had Dean Fleischer Camp make something really great and charming that would last for generations, but you use him to make this like the I don't know. And
I
like
think he is the
I
reason
can't
why I
really
like the
blame.
sisters' relationship.
Yeah, and I would agree, but like you can't really in a way I can't really blame Disney because it's making $150 million this opening weekend. So like I, I, they, it's show business. It's not show friends. It's show business. I understand that, but I guess it's just frustrating to me the world we live in that this happens and it's rewarded. And I just wish that like most of the ones that I'm talking about that took like risk and were interesting and most of them didn't do that well. So like I guess I just want the world to be different than it is, which is frustrating.
I can say that about a lot of things right now.
Yes.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
I mean, but I have to say, since I wrote my review and since I just have there's been all this discussion, I'm like, well, I guess maybe it did take more chances than I originally gave it credit for. It's not quite a shot for shot because I just didn't even think that like this thing with Noning was a big deal. But people are making out to this big deal. But what's really funny, so I said in my review, I said that when it first came out as an animated film, I was honestly quite mixed on the film. It felt overly somber and then too silly with the alien shenanigans. However, key word, however, it is a movie that has grown on me, and I really appreciate how unique it is in the Disney canon of
Hmm.
films. So I get this on Twitter. So I said on Twitter, I said, I'm not even a super fan of Lilo and Stitch, but I guess what's dispiriting is it was a Disney project with a real creative vision and a unique voice. And then this person says to me that not even a super fan? No kidding. You literally put in your review, you initially were not a fan of the animated film. You aren't a fan, period. I said, yes. When I first saw that in 2002, I wasn't a fan, but it grew on me, which I also said in the review. It's not a favorite of mine, but I do like it. And then I said,
You're not allowed to have something that you're only medium on. You have to either love or hate something.
yeah, and that I have to have evidently the exact same opinions that I had when I was 21. I'm not allowed to like evolve as a human being. Like I'm 44 years old. Like if I had the exact same opinions I did when I was 21, that would be sad. That would be a failure of me as a human being,
Yeah.
you
It's,
know?
this is why I kind of hate social media nowadays. The only reason I'm still there is because of YouTube. I don't like posting on Twitter. I don't even like posting on the Twitter replacements. They're almost as bad sometimes.
Yeah, I don't like that blue sky. I'm on it, but I don't like it. And it's very clunky, I think. But, it's just people are just so weird
Everybody
sometimes.
wants to chime in and have the hottest take, and they attack you for no reason. It's like, I don't even want to post on here anymore. Just, I'll make my podcasts and I'll put the promo tweet or whatever and then leave again.
Yeah. I mean, I like it in many ways, and it really has led me to many friends that I've gotten
Me too. That's the
over the
sad thing. I
years.
want the
Yeah.
Twitter back that was 5, 10 years ago, whenever I first started doing this. I want the old, like the nice Twitter. Like, not that
I,
it was ever fully nice, but like you met so many more
I just
people.
wish that
They were
you
so
could,
much nicer.
yeah, I just wish that like you weren't like pounced on so fast for the most
Yes.
like minor
The
things.
most
It's
innocuous,
yeah.
your opinion was the most innocuous thing, and they act like you said
Yeah.
something heinous.
So
It's,
that's frustrating. If you're all listening, chill out.
yeah, really.
Like, let's just have fun. It should just be a nice, fun part of your life. It shouldn't be this cause you. It shouldn't cause like lots of stress
Yeah.
and yeah. But I don't know. Like when I saw the movie, I was like, people will probably enjoy this. Like, but I
Hmm.
just it was frustrating to me. But I get it. Like it's not awful. I'd have it in the middle of my Disney canon ranking, remake ranking. But I just prefer the ones that are a little more ambitious, that
Hmm.
try things a little bit more. And I would just rather watch these sequels. I would rather watch them. They're like funnier and more original and more creative, shorter, a lot shorter. So so it's the last for me. I have it at 5.
I had it at 2 because I did really enjoy it. Like, again, these don't need to exist. None of the remakes really need to exist.
Yeah.
But if they're going to make them, this is the way I'd prefer to do it. Like, you can have a few things that are shot for shot, like the whole beginning is basically shot for shot
Yeah.
remake.
Yeah.
But it diverges, and I appreciated that it diverged and it did its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I got like I said, I kind of didn't appreciate the divergence. It seemed so minimal to me, but people's responses, I get it. I
The
get
people
it.
who are obsessed with Lilo and Stitch are definitely going to notice the
Yeah, well, and
divergence.
and they were upset about that they changed out. So they got rid of the
Captain Gantu.
Gantu. So they got rid of Gantu and put in Jimba instead.
I
And
think that worked for this movie. I do get why maybe they didn't like that because I like Gantu more for his design than as a character because I thought a giant bipedal whale alien is a really cool idea.
yeah,
So I get why people didn't like that, but it would be hard to do. Like if you're trying to make this more realistic, no, it's a movie with aliens, so they could have found a way if they really wanted to. But I
yeah.
get why they would decide to cut him. And
But
I
also
am
he's
I
a
am very
human
sure.
almost the whole time. So
True,
it
but
didn't
Gantu is
feel
absolutely enormous, so he can't really just change into a human. unless they shrunk him down, but which he could do.
But
Like,
I'm
he's
just
going to
saying,
invent
I
some
didn't
alien tech.
feel like they're radically changing Jumba's character because he was a human most of the time.
True, but if you're somebody who is like super obsessed with the series, Jumba is good. Like Jumba is the villain in this
Yeah.
movie.
And I
So I
hadn't
can see why
seen
they would
these
dislike
either.
that.
I hadn't seen these. And so I even tweeted out yesterday, I was like, I can understand now, having seen the series, why some people were upset about the
Hmm.
Jumba change.
Yeah. Like I
So
get all the
it's
criticisms. I think most of them are fair. Most of them, not all of them. But I think this is one of the more competently made live
yeah,
action
I mean, I
remakes.
would agree. Um, I would agree that it is, and like the Lilo and the Nani are both good. So it's
Hmm.
got that.
Yeah.
But okay, well, so I asked on Twitter what the sequels, did they like the sequels? What do they think of the sequels? And DigiKate says honestly some of the best of the direct to video sequels. And Wesley says I'm in the minority, but some of the Disney straight to DVD sequels were actually good, like Lion King 2. Then I said Cinderella 3, I will defend 100%. Funny how some of these are better than most of the live action remakes. Accurate. Um, my upcoming Mr. Flickster says my upcoming live stream tomorrow night is all about them. So go check it out, Mr. Flickster. People it's one of their favorites is Lilo and Stitch. People love it.
Hmm.
People have a very, very close relationship with it. Let's see if I can find that tweet again.
I've never done a full ranking of all the Disney movies, but I would say Lilo and Stitch is probably towards the top of mine. I really like the original. It is one of my favorites. Like, I love science fiction. I love aliens. I love weird characters. Like, everything about the original Lilo and Stitch is like tailored to my tastes.
Mhm.
So I really like the original.
We haven't had you on for a ranking episode?
No.
Disney ranking? Oh, I know we've had you on a couple times. We'll have to do that. Anyway, I can't find it, but that's all right. But yeah, it's definitely a beloved film. People really, really love it, and I
Hmm.
can see why. I mean, it's so unique, it's so sweet, and it has so much. It's just refreshing. It feels refreshing when you watch the Disney canon. There's just nothing else quite like it, which is nice.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love how unique it is. The
yeah,
fact that there's no
absolutely.
other movie like it makes it special, even more special.
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. That is our ranking of the Lilo and Stitch. I have the original at 1, Lilo and Stitch 2 at 2, Leroy and Stitch at 3, Stitch the movie at 4, and the remake at 5.
I have the original at 1, of course. I think tied for second, I would have the series itself with the
Mm,
remake, and then Stitch the movie, and then Leroy and Stitch, and then Lilo and Stitch 2. Stitch has a glitch at the end,
mhm.
at the bottom. That was my least favorite.
Yeah, that I can see that. Well, let us know what you think. What would be your ranking of these movies? We'd love to hear in the comments section or over on Twitter. You can follow us at Disney Talking on Twitter, so check that out. And where can people find you, Jonathan, and everything you're doing?
Well, if you like Disney movies, I also have a Disney podcast called the Disney Movie Marathon. And I also have just an animation podcast in general, I Heart Animation, and a podcast where we talk about different versions of things called Every Version Ever. So, three
Yeah,
different podcasts for three different tastes. Whatever you like, I'm
yeah.
sure there'll be something for you there.
Well, definitely we'll put some links down in the descriptions. Definitely want to check that out. And if you can find me, and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure that you are following me all over social media and at the Disney. And also make sure you're following at Disney Talking on Twitter. If you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That helps a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We're so close to 5K subscribers and we just want to get there. And so please subscribe. And then we have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything that we're doing. And we have monthly watch alongs and Q&A with talent and in our Facebook group and other fun perks. So please check out the Patreon group. And then we have our merch store where we have tons of fun designs, including hashtag animation junkie shirts. So check that out. I'm an animation girl. You can get that. Take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.